Hi, welcome, welcome. So glad you've joined today. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Whether you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube Live or a replay, I am really, really happy that you're here. I even have a friend in the wings who's kind of watching, one of my fellow demonstrators. So, hello, everybody say hello to Dina. And I wanted to just let you know if you will make a comment. I'd love to hear where you're from and what your name is and where you're watching from. And again, I appreciate you tuning in. Let me switch over so I can see your comments here. And I think you got a little notice with the notification that if you'll give StreamYard your name, then I'll be able to see who is commenting. Like, hello, Rebecca. So glad you're here. Glad you're joining. I know you've already made this carrot card, but hopefully we'll do something a little different today with it. I'm just going to give it a sec for people to tune in. Hi, Suzanne. So glad you've tuned in. Appreciate all my Create with Kelly crew peeps tuning in, and hope you'll share it with anybody you know who might be a little crafty or might be interested in becoming crafty. You know, it's not, you don't have to be born with it. You can learn these things. So we have a lot of fun in our Create with Kelly crew here in Lubbock, Texas. And again, I'm Kelly Pitts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Lubbock, Texas, but I can have customers all over the U.S. So that's kind of a fun thing. And today we're going to be playing with one of the Saleabration sets. And if you're not familiar with Saleabration, that is a wonderful promotion that's only going to happen once this year. So you've only got this month to take advantage of it. And for every $50 you purchase from the Stampin' Up! Annual catalog or the Stampin' Up! Mini catalog, you'll be able to choose an item for free from the Saleabration catalog. So this carrot stamp set is called Thanks a Bunch. And this is the one we're going to be working with today. And it is one of the $50 level items. So if you've placed a $50 order, you could choose this. We also have some other items that are available for the $100 level. If you place a $100 order, you can get that. So I can go into a little bit more of those details at the end, but I wanted to let you know kind of where we were coming from today. We are going to be more technique focused. I have a lot of the kit done. I'll show you these 3 cards that we've done with this. This is one of the papers called Dandy Designs. Hello, Tanya. So glad you tuned in. Awesome to have you. This is one of the papers, the Dandy Designs, like I was saying. And it's just makes a cute little card. Who would ever thought carrots would be so cute? I just thought I complain sometimes because we have a ton of flower sets and I always want something a little bit different. Well, carrots are different, that's for sure. But you can do a lot of things with the carrots, turn them into trees, all kinds of things. Hello, Felicia. So glad you're here with me today. We're going to be working with the Saleabration carrot sets. Felicia is with Stampin' Up! She is a big help to me in my Stampin' Up! Business. She helps me go over goals and teaches me a lot of things, and we get to share every couple of weeks on a phone call. So I'm always happy to have her tune in. All right, back to this card. It's just an easy little fun fold. And we just have 1-step stamping. Today we're going to do a lot more detailed stamping, but this shows you just how simple stamping with individual colors will work. Yes, Felicia, it is a cute stamp set. It just really surprised me how cute it is, the carrots, and what all you can do with it. All right, this one I used 2-step stamping with the carrots, and I'm going to show you today we're going to use on watercolor paper. This is kind of what the same technique that we're going to use today on the watercolor paper we tried on the crumb cake. And this we are actually stamping. You put the ink on the stamp and then turn it over and then use a sponge dauber to get the multicolors around there. And then we spritzed it with water using one of Stampin' Up! Spritzers. So that's kind of how we got this look. And then we splattered it with an aqua painter and some ink in it. So this is kind of a step up from the other card as far as how detailed the stamping needs to be. And then we have one more step up, which I always love. And that is this card, which has some beautiful, I just didn't even when I first stamped these carrots, I thought, oh, that's ugly, I'm not going to use that one. And then I really ended up liking it because it looks like a real carrot to me. It's a little shabby carrot, but you know, carrots just come right straight out of the ground. So this is kind of that natural look. And this is done with watercolor paper. This is what I'm going to show you today. We're going to stamp, put the ink on the stamp, and then do some sponge daubering with a different color around the edges, spritz it, and then put it down on the watercolor paper. And this stamp set had 2 different leaves in it. And this just does not look anything like any carrot leaf I've ever seen online or in person. They usually have longer stems and more of a stalky. This kind of looks more like parsley to me, but it's closer to what a carrot stem, I think, looks like, or carrot leafy portions. So we're sticking with that today, but I didn't want to try to fussy cut that, you know, so I decided, well, let's just make this a layered look. Whoops, my phone battery. I'm fixing to have to plug that in, peeps. Hang on a second here. I forgot to do that before we started. I was chatting with my friend Dina, who's backstage, and just didn't do that. Okay, hopefully we're good. All right, so this, the leafy part, is stamped in the background. That is stamped onto the paper, and then these carrots are fussy cut out, which, oh, I know some of you don't like to fussy cut, but there couldn't be much easier form to cut out than a carrot because you just go around that edge. I think just about any first grader can do that. So y'all don't panic and don't think you can't do it just because you don't like to fussy cut. These are easy peasy. So we're going to be using one of the stamps in the set is this little crosshatch set. You can see here that stamp. I used it on the pumpkin pie layer and on this top shimmery, I think this is shimmery white. Nope, it's just very vanilla. So we're doing several different techniques with this. I've already pre-done the cane weave embossing folder, which is a 3D embossing folder. You can see the depth to it. Isn't that pretty? Ah, love it. I don't know how we ever did without it. You got to have one. If you don't have it yet, add it to your order. You'll love it. All right. So you can see that we did kind of the same technique in here. I'm going to show you one more thing before we get started. And when I first got the stamp set, I started playing with it to see how different colors would combine. So there's a 2-step stamp, which I'll show you. You can use a second stamp or you don't have to. That's the one that has all the details. And I did discover that if you're going to use that stamp, you definitely need to stamp. It's much easier to stamp that one, stamp the detail first, and then come back on top of it with the plain filled in part. I don't know. the full carrot. Put it on top of that. So it seems backwards, but anyway, if you're going to be playing with this set, I would say this was really fun to do, to see the different looks I could get by combining first generation, second generation stamping, and then adding that layer, whether it's in a same color or a different color. So if you're working on figuring out carrots, then there are a lot of different colors. Some of us think they're only orange, but you can look them up online or go to a farmer's market and see that these organic carrots can come in a lot of different colors. So you can do a lot of different things with it. Okay, so that's what I recommend, kind of playing with it. And then I also played with different, with the spritzer after I stamped, before I stamped, just kind of really played with it to get different looks. And that's kind of what we're going to do today. I did find out that if you don't want to spritz it afterwards, certainly on the purple. This is on the watercolor paper. So that really didn't work unless you're trying to get that effect, which there might be sometimes you might want to. So that gives you an idea there. Here are some just on some watercolor paper that are spritzed twice, which means a lot of water added to it. So it really kind of ran together, but I really kind of like the look. So, and I just made a little note on there. This was pumpkin pie, shadow, and then mango melody, and then spritz. So I just made little notes for myself of these. I really like this one. I like the kind of artsy look. So that was my pump twice pumpkin pie twice, and then Cajun. So yeah, just wanted to kind of show you my process and how I figured things out and what I wanted to do. So we will get after it. It's time to create with Kelly. Glad you're here. Let's see if we've had anybody new tune in. I appreciate y'all watching. All right. Here's our little kit. And remind me to do the announcements at the end. I've got a bunch of classes coming up. So if y'all like my style that you're seeing here, I will have from beginner on to intermediate on all the way up. But in February, I actually have a brand new class that I'm about to schedule and haven't even invited people to. That's coming up February 11th. I'm going to do some simple cards. I'm going to call it Take Your Pick, because I'll have several designs out, and just when I run out of that one, you'll move to the next one. But we're using a lot of the the Saleabration paper, so you'll get to try a lot of new things. So February 11th, that's on a Saturday. Next Saturday, woohoo, a week from today already. In that class, you'll get to make up to 10 cards. I've got like a 3 or 4 hour period where you can kind of come and go and pick the 10 you want to make. So you can make several of one or all different ones. And we're going to do one label. We're going to stamp a bunch of labels that are the same size. I'm going to make sure it fits on all the cards. And then you get to choose, stamp a bunch of get well, stamp a bunch of sympathy, stamp a bunch of birthday, whatever you want it to be. And then you can take the cards home with you and just put the little greeting on whenever you get ready. And that way it's a lot more flexible than doing a pre-done card kit. So y'all holler if you're interested in that one right away. And then I have some more coming up, a techniques one coming up on the 19th, where we'll be playing with embossing paste. And our wonderful team member, Tanya Cook, is going to be leading that one. So that'll be fun and exciting. And that is on the 19th. So holler back. I've got beginner classes too. So we're going to get going on this one. Okay. I've got just your typical 8.5 by 5.5 cardstock. And I have already used the Cane 3D embossing folder. And I'm sure y'all have seen that. I've used it several times, but it is item number 160580, the Cane Weave embossing folder. Love it. It's great. It's very detailed. So we're just going to fold that over, get the card basics done, and then we'll get to play with all of our ink and watercolor paper. I think you'll really enjoy it. Okay, we've got that base done. Let's get out our Stampin' Pierce mat here. And we'll do the easy stuff like the inside and this layered piece. Then we'll come back. Well, let's go ahead and do that one first. Okay. On the pumpkin pie layer, I use just, let's switch you over and make me teeny tiny and this area big. How about that? Is that big enough? Let's go ahead. Let's just go ahead and do that all the way. Y'all don't have to see me all the way through. I think most of you know what I look like. And this is not some imposter coming in and making cards, pretending to be me. It's really me. Okay. So I am just using this little crosshatch thing here and there. And I usually, if I'm doing a background or anything like this, I go off the edge. So you want some kind of going toward the inside. It just depends on exactly how these carrots turn out and all that, on exactly where we're going to need these. A lot of these are going to be covered up. But I just wanted several of those little crosshatches randomly stamped. So it's just tone on tone stamping. You can see the pumpkin pie there. Let's see if it'll focus. Maybe I'm a little too fast for my camera. And thanks for those of you tuning in and watching. Love that. Okay. We'll get our little cleaner. Now I'm going to switch. I've got that layer done. That's all we're doing there. And we're going to use crumb cake. And do the same thing on this one, just for continuity. I'm going to close this pumpkin pie up before I get my knuckles in it. I'm quite sure that is going to be the next thing. See if I can get that where y'all can see everything that's going on. Move that up. Now you can. And y'all please post in the comments if I ever totally get off camera or I'm ignoring you and don't mean to or anything. I try to look up every once in a while and check the comments. And I'm just doing first generation stamping. You could do a few if you wanted with stamping on and stamping off. Put a few of those in like that. So you've got some lighter. You just don't want to go crazy with it. Most of that's going to be covered up anyway. All right. Now we'll do our greenery. And I think I used Mossy Meadow on this. I may have gone to Garden Green because it's lighter, but we shall see. Okay, and one thing on this stemmed, I've seen a lot of people mask this off, but really you can just be careful about where you stamp it. Like, let me see on, I'll show you on this card. See how on this card that's really short? That I didn't want any of the stem, so I only stamped up to there. But today I want some stems to stick down, but you don't want long stems sticking underneath where your carrots are. So you kind of have to think about the angle and how all that's going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp up the whole stem on some of these, and I'm doing first generation and second generation. And all the carrot little bunches I've seen are, there's a lot of this kind of fluff, fluff stuff. I think I need to move that up a bit. So I'm just kind of randomly stamping, but trying to keep all the stems kind of together where they can get covered up. With the carrots once we get those done. So we're doing kind of the easy part first. Let's do one more. I need some second generation over here. I'm thinking that if we need to come back and do some more, we can. All right. And I've got a little mess right here. That's typical. I got in a hurry and got to talking. Let's get that cleaned off. But here's what I mean on the, if you don't have an area like this that's going to get covered up, when you stamp that leaf, just go right to here. Okay, just stamp the part you want. Just make sure, and I usually do it with the stamp pad closed. I do a lot better if it's on a level surface, but that way you have no stem. Let's see where I might want one of these. We'll just do it where it's covered up in there anyway. Okay, so you get the picture. All right, we're kind of doing, now we need to do a little bit on the inside before we get to our detailed stuff of watercoloring. I may go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and do that just because we've got the green out. Trying to make it efficient so y'all aren't here all day. So you see, I've just barely, I probably put a little bit too much stem, okay? But you can see it if you do that. So just go back, erase it, and start again. Okay, we're just going to do one little carrot down here. I may do this one straight up. I thought about it and didn't know how I wanted to do it. So we're going to do this one a little differently. We're going to do it like that, and then we'll stamp our carrot. Hopefully that's good. We'll see. Maybe not. I kind of got that short. Yeah, we'll try it. We'll flip it over if we need to. And I forgot to do my little cross hatches on there that are really like a carrot detail, I guess. I mean, you know how they have those little lines on them going across? I don't eat enough of those carrots. I think I would have better eyesight if I had listened to Mom and Dad and everybody else who says how many vegetables you need to eat per day. Don't always do that like I should. All right, we're just randomly doing that, and we'll see how the carrot works when we get to it. May not be the best plan, but I was thinking it was the most efficient for today. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do the little background splatter that we've got on here. Can y'all see that? We do have several stamps, like the color and contour stamp, and several that'll work like that. Well, hello, Jinxie. I'm glad you're joining here. You do need that carrot stamp. It's a whole lot of fun to play with. That you can get it with a $50 order. And turn it upside down and make trees. I don't know if you saw that part, but you can certainly stamp it just like this, stamp it in green, add a little trunk, and there's the tree. It's fun to play with. Okay, now back to our splatter. We're going to use a water painter. Hopefully. Yep. Okay. And we're going to just, I'm going to get a little of this ink just on the back of this block. Probably need a bigger block. But I'm going to just do it on here. You can do it on your, let's see, I need a bigger block. Hang on. Oh, we're going to change up our plan here. That's one thing about crafters. We are good about pivoting and changing and switching things around, aren't we? That's a lot of fun that way. Okay, we're just going to get some crumb cake. I'm going to take a little bit of crumb cake ink refill. Ink refill, or I know people have different names for those. Can't think of what else right now that is. I'm going to get a placemat out because this is kind of messy. Okay, have y'all ever done this ink splatter technique? It's not a tough one, it's just a bit messy. So I think what I'm going to do is what I usually do. My peeps know that we try to keep the mess contained when we can. I don't know how this is going to work here, but y'all can see this is my splatter box. Whoops. Of course, that just dropped off. Thank goodness it didn't drop on the floor. All right. We're going to put these in here because we're splattering both of them. Might as well do it at the same time. And then I take it could be a Wink of Stella. It could be just about anything. Let's see if we can get this where y'all can see, and so can I. Can you see that corner? Yeah. Okay, so you're just squeezing the water from your water painter on here. And then everything can change based on the angle that you're doing this. But we're just going to whack it against this Wink of Stella. It could be whacked against anything, really. And the angle, as you can see, the splatter changes. The dots get bigger or smaller. Everything depends on kind of how close you are, how much ink you have, how much water you have. I'm going to add a little more ink and get a few darker splatters. And to me, like I said, this is kind of a natural, organic-y, kind of like dirt on your carrots. Means they're fresh out of the ground kind of thing. So that was kind of the look I was going for. All right, I think that's enough to show y'all what I mean. And then you just take and wipe that off your block. And we'll get out of the splatter box for now. So now we've got these two pieces, and we're going to grab our carrot stamp. And let's, on the inside, we'll go ahead and use, because I want you to see how much easier it is. We could do it on a scratch piece of paper, but you can just take my word for it that it is much easier to see if you stamp the detail first. So I'm just going to do crumb cake on the detail. You could do it darker. You could do it Calypso Coral, as you saw at the first if you were watching all this. And if you weren't, if you want to watch the replay, you'll see some of the playing that I did. Okay, we're going to try to put that right there. So if you just use some pressure, even pressure, try not to wiggle it, just straight down, straight up. Now we have that crumb cake detail. And it totally changes, of course, if you re-ink your pad, which mine was a little dry, so I got totally different results when I did it from one time to the next. Okay. And that you could spritz it, or if you want the detail, I wanted y'all to see the detail first. But we're going to take, you're going to see I've got it inked up now with pumpkin pie. And I'm going to take a little bit of Calypso Coral and use one of our sponge daubers. And just go around some of these edges kind of randomly. It's hard to see where I can hold it better, maybe where y'all can see. Can you tell what I'm doing? Okay. Now move these out of the way. We're probably going to use them again. So now I've got to get my spritzer out. And I'm not going to get my box. I probably should, but I'm just going to hold it over in the air. This is one of our Stampin' Spritzers. Here you go. And I think you get 3 in a pack of this, and you can fill them with water or fill them with alcohol, whatever you want. But for this instance, we want water, and I label mine so I don't have to think every time and dump it out and go, was that alcohol? Was that water? Do y'all ever do that? Oh yeah, Tanya, re-inker. Yeah, thank y'all. Forgot that. I knew there was a word. Yeah, Rebecca and Tanya are keeping me in line. Good, good, good. Hi, Jinxie. I'm glad you're enjoying that. I don't know if that is really your name, Jinxie, or what your name is. So that's all I can tell. Okay, we're going to give it one squirt. Well, try to get it where y'all can see. I'm holding it kind of perpendicular to me, but it's hard to show this on camera. We'll see. Really just give it one good squirt like that. If you do 2, it probably is going to run too much. And if you see it's running before you stamp, you can take care of that. I'm going to just get a little bit of this off so it doesn't drip. But I'm going to let that be. Okay, we are going to line this up. Let me see if I can get it where y'all can see and not see the top of my head or anything, and where I can see. But if you do the dark, you can see that dark all the way through. When you do the lighter first that's full, it's really kind of hard to see where the edge is to stamp the detail. So see how that kind of bled, kind of ran. You just kind of want it to be like that a little bit. If you want a little more color, you can go back on and restamp that. It's not exact anyway, and you can still line it up with the detail part. Okay, so that's the pumpkin pie. I'm gonna go a little darker at the top with the Calypso Coral and maybe just a bit more on the tip. I think we're good in the middle. And I think it could be the angle that I'm holding this. We're gonna move that out of the way. Okay, we're gonna try to get this Okay, I tried to just do 2 little ones. Okay, 2 little squirts. Okay, we're going to line this back up again. And you can do these on the Stamparatus. It's just a bit much to try to do on the air that way. Okay, I'm using some pressure, letting it soak in. And we have a little bit of a shadow. We're going to fix that with the blend. It's a little hard to get it exactly how you want it when you're on the air. I'm just going to take a blend and fill that in. You could use a marker instead. You could do whatever you want. But there you go. That's close enough. Y'all get the idea. So some of it is going to be, it's going to be 2-tone, 3-tone. But that's kind of what I wanted, was a natural kind of carrot look. So there we have it. Now I'm going to show you the difference in how the carrot stamps using the same technique, but using it on watercolor paper instead. And we're not going to use the detail on everything. We're just going to use it on some of them. Okay, set that aside. Now we're going to play with this kind of like I did on here. You can see this is pumpkin pie and some crumb cake. Probably, if y'all are. Jinxie said that's not her name. That's one of her pups' names. That's funny. Well, if you want to let me know what to call you, you can put that in the comments. Otherwise, that's all I know to call you. Okay, we're going to clean that off again, because you don't want to contaminate your ink pad. You do have that secondary color that you put on with your sponge dauber. So we're going to grab plenty of pumpkin pie. And it's easier for me to stamp like this. So I'm just going to go, whoop, nope. I want to go ahead and do crumb cake on this one. This way. So this is going to be kind of a lighter one. It won't be the bright one. We'll try to do something kind of like that. And I'm going to switch to a different sponge dauber. This is more, I don't have one for each color. Do y'all have a sponge dauber for each color? Hi, Lisa. Everybody welcome Lisa. She just subscribed to my YouTube channel recently. Glad to have her on board. I'll quit calling her dog's name. It was not intentional, believe me. I did not know any better. Okay, we're going to just use this crumb cake randomly, kind of using it. It makes sense to me to have it a little bit more at the top, a little darker at the top, and maybe at the tip, and then kind of where the lines are that Stampin' Up! Already provided. Okay, now we're going to move this out of the way again. And we're going to spritz one more time. And pay attention, you know, this is only going to go one way. So look at the stopper and see exactly where you're pointing it before you spritz. Ask me why. I know that. Okay, we're going to let that go. So this is more watery. And this is going to be a lighter one. And on that watercolor paper, you've got to give it time to absorb. Yeah, Tanya, I don't have one per color. I've got kind of one for light orange, one for dark orange, that kind of thing. But I've got a bunch of them, but they're not labeled. And that's what I would like to do if we ever do a color refresh or anything. I'm probably going to start over with my sponge daubers and go ahead and label them when we get the new colors. So, wow, that turned into mud. I did too much crumb cake on that one. Woo! Don't like that. This is how you learn. Okay. Let's start over on that one. let's do pumpkin pie again. Oh, I know what happened. I re-inked my crumb cake pad. That's exactly what happened. Okay, so we've done pumpkin pie. We're just going to use a teeny bit of crumb cake and spritz that again. See what we get here. And this is the watercolor paper. It's called Fluid 100. And I have it pulled out here somewhere. Ooh, there's an artsy one. That's kind of an artsy look, right? And you could just, if you want to go ahead and blend that, you could just spritz just the top without re-inking or anything. Just spritz that top part and go back in. See what we get here. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. All right. Almost looks like a sweet potato. Yeah. Okay, so you can see there's a big difference in how the watercolor paper reacts with the carrot stamp, or vice versa. All right, we're going with Calypso Coral on this one. And I'm actually going to add just a teeny bit of rich razzleberry, because we're going to do a razzleberry carrot anyway. So I'm going to use a little bit of that on here. Let's get this where you can see it. Just going to use teeny bits here and there. Okay. I better close these up. This is getting scary with 3 of them over here. I am a messy girl, so. Okay. I think some of this is the angle that I'm trying to do it at, just so y'all can see on camera, and I'm not aiming it at my computer or anything. Not a good plan. Okay. Now we'll see how this goes. So really, if you're planning some cards like this, it's fun to just do a little playing. That's kind of fun. That could be a carrot color for sure. Okay, now let's do a purple one. We'll do just a full rich razzleberry. And I just slipped that off, so we'll see if it's still going to stamp properly for us. And I'm just going to do this one with a tiny bit of crumb cake to make it darker. Make sure you're using the right sponge dauber. Okay, hardly used any. Move this out of the way. Spritz one more time. I think we got enough there. You can get by with 1 spritz on the non-watercolor paper, but really kind of on this, you probably need to hold it on there, let it soak in. And there's your purple. And if you decide, we're going to experiment here on this one. We're going to, if you say, wonder what would happen if I spritz that carrot with water. Well, don't try that until you cut them apart, okay? That's another lesson learned by doing. All right. So you can see here how this is still kind of dry where this one was wet, or hopefully you can. There we go. So I'm going to spritz that just a little bit after. See, how cool is that? Now, it would not be cool probably if you were leaving it on your card like that, but we're going to fussy cut it out. So that's kind of some neat shading. That's what I was talking about on the razzleberry or the blackberry, anything like that. It'll spread. Okay, Now, we're just going to stop with those because now you've got the idea and you can figure out how you want to make your card because it's your card. You can do it any way you want. Okay, now we're going to use some of that, go back to that little crosshatch again and add some detail maybe in this area where we don't have any detail. We're not trying to make a totally realistic carrot. We're trying to just make it where you can tell this is supposed to be a carrot and it makes sense with thanks a bunch. All right, so I'm just going to go in with a little bit of this here and there, and that one this is going to be stamped off on there. We'll do one more up in here. Okay, we're just going to do that, and then we'll cut that out. We'll do a couple of these. One of these I wanted to show you the second step after you watercolor it. So we'll just use that, the one that turned kind of the ugly color. We'll see what we can do, but I'll show you. This is harder to line up after you've already stamped it. It's hard to see exactly where that point goes. That's why I recommend doing this step first. But if you want to do that, there you go. So you can see how many looks you can achieve with this very easily. Okay, we're going to go in, do a little calypso here, here. See, so you're just going to get detail on parts of it. It's a little more artsy than having it all the way down the side like that. Which I like. That may not be y'all's style. You may be very realistic or very whimsical. And you could do either one with this stamp set. A lot of fun to play with. Okay, we're going to do a couple of little lines on this one and move on. Okay. And some of them you think you might not like, and then once you dry it and cut it out, you do like it. Anybody have any questions or comments or anything so far? Do y'all have spritzers? Have you played with spritzers? What do you think of spritzers? We're just going to fussy cut this out really quickly. It's just to show you. It's not going to take forever. You think it is, but it won't. And I have some that are already pre-cut, but I do want to show you how quickly this can go. Just leave a little bit of the watercolor paper on the outside. Kind of leave a little border. Or that's what I recommend anyway. I'm going to cut this side a little closer because that's kind of off. Like I said, I couldn't stamp it exactly right since I did the detail as the second stamp. We'll see. We're probably not going to use this one because I think it's an ugly color, but it might be in the very back if we decide to do that. Probably going to use these brighter ones. I know if any of y'all have watched my videos, you know I am usually a brights girl. I'm going to show you this one kind of right up next to the carrot just to show you the contrast of how that looks versus when it has a little white border around it. Okay, Tanya, see, that's kind of what I felt the first time I did this. I thought, oh, I didn't really like that carrot, but you just got to let it dry and also cut it out. Somehow it looks a little bit different once you've got it cut out. So take the 30 seconds it takes to go ahead and cut it out, even if you don't think you'll like it, because you might surprise yourself and it'll be worth it. If not, you've only wasted 30 seconds. I bet you've wasted more than that in the past on something. Oh, goodness. Okay, how about that? Now, we can already start putting our card together and figure out which of these we want to use. And if we want to use a little more detail, like some markers or anything on these, like I did on the other ones. You can tell here I went back in and added a little bit of the Mossy Meadow marker to kind of make it look kind of like the stem is coming out of there. And what else did I do? Oh, kind of made a little circle at the top with a little bit of crumb cake and the water painter. Okay, I think we're just going to do this on the inside. Let me look at what time it is, see how long I've been keeping y'all. Okay, we're going to just glue this in on the inside. And you can use your liquid glue, you can use your seal, whatever you want. I'm not putting a greeting on inside so that I can just leave the thank you on the outside and then say whatever I want to. I've got plenty of room in there for that. Okay. Now for the outside, we've got this piece and we've already got our splatter. We've already got our cross hatches, and I would definitely use, whoops, we're going to do our pumpkin pie first. Just lost that layer. Flew off my table. Okay, here we go. So we've got the crosshatch marks on here too, and I've used the deckled rectangle dies, and I'm going to do this kind of cattywampus, as some people say. A little bit crooked. You could do it straight, but I think with something as artsy as this, I think straight might be a little too rigid, but that's just me. Some people have to have everything straight, and that's just fine. It's totally up to you. And let's see. I popped this one up on dimensionals. So we will do that. Wow, I get to start a new pack. How exciting. And I'm just doing it on the corners. And that's it for now, because I really want the carrots to be popped up, and you can't tell exactly where they're going to be till you put this down. So I'm just going to have this layer where it's not flat, but have the carrots be the, oh, shoot, I forgot about my greeting. All right, we're going to carefully see. I didn't put those really down hard. If you really work at it, you can just kind of peel those back up if it's really quick decision. And if you kind of roll them a little bit like that, that kind of will get that up, because we need to do the greeting before we dimensional that down. Y'all didn't remind me. Okay, we'll do thanks a bunch on this one too. And the thanks a bunch is separate in the kit, which is kind of nice in the stamp set. But I have tried to line it up. I haven't tried stamping with it yet. So we're going to try that on our little scratch paper here. Whoops. That's close. Close enough. Okay, we're going to do thanks a bunch in the rich razzleberry. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to go a little darker. This doesn't stamp as dark as the Blackberry Bliss, and they're in that same color family. I just think it looks better on a greeting to have it darker. So we're going to change that. And even though our carrot is rich razzleberry, we're going to use Blackberry Bliss on this. As I said, that's kind of a deeper shade of about the same thing. So you can either have this where it's straight and parallel to the bottom of the card. You just kind of decide which way you want it. I think I want it where it's going to be straight on this one. We'll just do it at this angle. So it's not parallel to the bottom of this piece, but it'll be parallel to the bottom of the card. And let us put this on at an angle. See what I mean? So now this is going to be straight with the bottom of the card. I wanted to do it different than the way I did this one. This one has the greeting parallel to the bottom of that label. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like the other way. You got to learn some variety, right? We'll see which way y'all like it. Yes, Lisa, that'd be great. You could just go to createwithkelly.com, and my host code is, let's see, is it on the screen? Maybe it's not on the screen. Let's get that up there for you. Let's see. I believe that is the one. So there's my host code. I would really appreciate you shopping with me. I love that when I can inspire someone to want to try some cards that I've made on their own. And I'd love to see what you create, Lisa, if you want to post that on our Create with Kelly crew. I've got a Create with Kelly crew on Facebook. I've got a group called Create with Kelly crew, and you can join that group and you can post your creations. We all love to see each other's. Rebecca is leading the pack right now. Rebecca and Tanya really post a lot. They probably post more than I do on there. So I'd love to have that. Love to see that, Lisa, and I'll be glad to help you. You can call me or contact me anytime about an order. If you're interested in some Stampin' Up! Products, would love to be your demonstrator. I can send you a catalog if you need one too. Just let me know. Whoops, I should have made that a little bit lower. I was trying to, okay, this is what we should be doing first, is kind of auditioning our pieces to see how we want these carrots to be. And I've got a couple that I stamped and didn't use on the last card, so we've got a couple of extras. These was using the pale papaya kind of colors, so totally different. If we decide we want to use some of these, we can put those on there. I thought maybe we would try 5 on this one just to see what we think. But look at the difference in the color. That's just pale papaya with a little daffodil delight. And this one has more daffodil delight and paper pumpkin pumpkin pie. All right. Yeah, Lisa, if you want to email me at kelly@createwithkelly.com, then, and anybody else out there who's watching, if y'all want to email me, I will be glad to send you a catalog to whatever address you give me. That would be great. Happy to help. Okay. Okay. This is kind of too dull, or it's too close to that color to me, unless we have 5 and we have this one kind of poking out there. That could work. But what we want to do is make sure we're covering up that splotch that I made over here earlier. Whoops. See, everything's fixable. And we usually do things kind of in odd numbers. We may not want to calypso corals, but then again, we may. Do we want 5, or is that just overwhelming, peeps? What are y'all thinking? We're going to pop those up with dimensionals, whatever we decide. Sorry about that. I've got everything crooked. The card base, the everything. That thanks a bunch should have been up higher. And we could add a little something at the bottom. That's kind of a bit much, I think. I'm not hearing many comments here. Should we get rid of that one? It's not very pumpkin-y. This one's kind of light. Let's see. Or do we get rid of that one? Kind of like the bright. Or we do 2 of these. See, how fun is this to just kind of play? We may have to do 5 just because we've got so many stems up there. We can put that way behind like that. And you don't want something pointing directly out of your card if you can help it. You kind of make it where you read that thanks a bunch and it comes up into the grouping. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is too many. Felicia says 4. 5 is too many, go with 3. Okay, we kind of got a mixed bag here. Do we kind of like this 4 with one of them hidden? Even though you usually use an odd number? I'm kind of liking that. It is fun to play. What do y'all think of that? Even though it's 4. We think 5 is too many, but 3 is not quite enough, I think, on this particular one, because I did so many of these and I have to cover up this little mistake over here. And my greeting is so high up. But anyway, y'all have seen the technique. You've seen how you can play with this. And we can probably do the back one. And if you do something in just a glue dot, it's still not flat like if you glued it with liquid glue. It gives it a little bit of lift, but, and I just put it, I take the embellishment or whatever it is to the glue dot instead of trying to get the glue dot off and stick it on here. So just stick it to it and twist it a little bit. We're just going to start. So the one in the back doesn't have to have a dimensional. These on top definitely would, because you kind of want, we're going to have to put a little okay with the shadowing. But you want it to kind of look like the stems are coming out of the carrot. We'll use a little mini on the bottom here, and I'm just leaving the bottoms free to just kind of curl up. And I'm not going to totally push those Stampin' Dimensionals down just in case we want to change our mind and move them around. So y'all can play till the cows come home, but we probably just better make a decision today and move on, because I really just wanted to show y'all the technique, how that can work, and how fun it is to play with, and the combination of the 2-step stamps, whether you use this or you use the crosshatch or whatever you decide. What if we had just a tad of that one? Yeah, I agree, still too many. But I don't want to keep y'all all day. Hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you've learned something. Have y'all had fun? Have you, wondering if you could round off about 1/2 inch on the tops? Round this way, Dion, or down? I've got Dion. Thanks for tuning in, Dion. Glad you're here. Round off about. Do you mean flatten or make them more rounded like this? Where they're a different shape? Is that what you mean, Dion? And then we'll do a little bit with the marker too. There we go. Good suggestion. Okay, then I'm going to get a blend. for a marker. Let's see. Let's see if we do. I'm looking for my crumb cake blends. I'm not sure exactly where I put those, so we're going to try our light soft suede. Whoop, it's not really all that light. Okay, let's get our water painter back out. We'll just use this and this and flat cut, but then round them. That's a good idea, Dion. I saw your first comment too late to, we can play with that on the next one. Not today, but I really tried to make like a little bit here, like it, because the carrots, are they rounded on top? I'm just trying to think. Obviously, I told y'all earlier I was not eating enough vegetables, so I'm trying to remember now exactly how that works. But I wanted to kind of make the top kind of like this, and then we'll have it put a little bit of a mossy meadow up there where it looks like stems are coming out of it. And you could play with your blends, you could play with a marker, you could play with the inks like I'm doing. Dion is a big carrot lover. She knows exactly what they look like. Oh, goodness. Okay. So let's get a little bit of Mossy Meadow marker. And I'm just going to make this where it kind of may look like those stems up here are coming out of that carrot. You know, that's kind of what we want to just a little indication, since those are so much further back there. In fact, I think this might be a little too popped up. And we'll just move that down because we've already got a lot of pop up here. We're going to add a little glue dot behind that. I say we are. If I could find my take a pick tool, we would. Okay, I'm going to grab a little. It's easier to do it the way I said, but you can go back and glue dot afterwards. There we go. There's a little. Dion, is that a little more realistic maybe? Or am I going the wrong way? Now I'm indenting and it should have been domed. But whatever, whichever way you decide to do it, it is easy to play like that. Isn't that fun? Hope y'all had a great time and have learned a new technique. And I think I should have put a little bit more of the more bushy, brushy, whatever, but it's a lot of fun to play with. And hope y'all have enjoyed it, and hope y'all will come to my classes if you're in the Lubbock area. Would love to have you come. And also have, thank you, Diane. Thanks, Dion. I appreciate you tuning in. I wanted to let you know we do have a couple of specials going on with Stampin' Up. And this just started. For demonstrators, we currently have some online exclusives that we can pre-order. And y'all will be able to order as customers on March 1st. And this is part of Stampin' Up's new strategy that they're doing, where they're releasing some online exclusives so they can be really up with the times and trendy and make changes and get y'all products quicker than if they had to wait to print another catalog. So that's a fun idea. So we're going to have things that you can just look up, go to my createwithkelly.com blog site, and then look up kits, look up online exclusives. You'll be able to do a lot of that starting in March. And currently, the other special that's going on is More to Celebrate. We have had the celebration for a month now. We've been able to order celebration items like I was discussing earlier for your $50 or $100 order. We have had this catalog. And now, not only can you choose from the items in this catalog, but we've got a selection of items out of the annual catalog and mini that you can order as free items. So that is very exciting. You can find all this on my blog at createwithkelly.com. You can link to my online store there, whatever you need to do. And you can contact me anytime, and I'll be glad to help you with whatever you need. I'll move this out of the way and switch back over and see if anybody has anything else you want to share or ask me about or anything. Let me check my comments real quickly. Thanks, Tanya. Glad you liked the carrot card. Whoever would have thought that carrots could be so cute. And that stamp set is again called Thanks a Bunch. Let's see if I can find it again after I put everything away. Hang on. We'll find it. I am sure of it. Can't be very far away, right? Okay. I don't know, but it has cute little, it looks like spring, and there's look at you and some fun little things like that. So a lot of fun things. Just go on to the website and find those, and hope you'll join me again for classes coming up if you're in the Lubbock area. Thanks, Suzanne. I appreciate the compliment. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate everybody who tunes in to the live or the replay, and thank you for your time today. Please contact me anytime you have questions, and please share with your crafty friends. You can share even after the fact so they can watch the replay. Would love to inspire other people to create their own masterpieces. This was a lot of fun today. Thank y'all for all your comments and joining in. And y'all have a great week. Hope you learned something today. You had fun, and have a good one. Fun times ahead. Thanks. Bye-bye.